Hello there, my name is Mr. Shepherd and welcome to the Heroes of Music Institute. I am very excited to begin this music journey with you today. Now before we get started, we want to do a quick little stretch. Stretch out your hands. At the wrist, turn them around and around and around. Other way, just a couple times. Up, down, up, down. We're going to grab the inside knuckle and we're going to pull in opposite directions. Oh yeah, that feels good. There, other way. Give the hand a quick little massage on the inside of your palm. Each individual finger, the thumb. Same with the opposite hand. You can crack your knuckles if you like. I prefer to just pull them out. Same thing with the thumb. Do a little shake, shake, shake. Let's roll the shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're ready to go. Just that little bit of stretching will get you ready for what we're about to do today. Alright, let's go over the names of the strings. The thinnest string is known as the E string or first string. The next string is known as the B string or second string. The next string is the third string, or known as the G string. The next string is known as the fourth string, also known as the D string. String number 5 is known as the A string. And string number 6 is known as the E string. Let's begin. How should we hold the guitar? Well, right now I'm in the seated position, the classical seated position. I'm at the edge of my chair. My feet are planted firmly on the ground. My left leg, because I'm right-handed, is slightly elevated. I have it on a small little amplifier right now. You can use a guitar pedal, like a classical guitar footstool. You can use a bunch of books, whatever elevates your left leg. If you were left-handed, you would use the opposite leg. Now, this position forms what's almost like a T between your shoulders and the guitar. The headstock should be almost eye level. Now, in the relaxed position, both feet would be on the ground or right in front of you, and the guitar would be on the opposite thigh. And you would have the guitar, the neck would no longer be eye level. Now, this is the position that I started in. This is it's a great position. I would add a little caveat. If you are a singer or if you were joining in our Greatness in Songwriting course as well, I would strongly advise for you to begin in the seated position. Why? Because if you're singing in this position, your lungs are going to be slightly cramped. It can be, if you get loud, it's going to put a tremendous strain on your neck. While in the seated position, your lungs are going to be more open, your chest is going to be out, you can get loud if you want, and there's fewer restrictions. But I did begin in the other way. I did begin for many, many years in this position, and to my detriment. You know, I got a lot of kinks in my neck that don't go away, and again, don't go the route that I went. Start in the seated position. It's going to be to your benefit. Now, for our purposes, we're going to be using a pick. If you don't have a pick, you can just use your thumb and your fingernail for right now. Just your thumb, the meaty side. But for this lesson today, I'm assuming that you have a pick. Now, how do we hold the pick? Make a little pretend gun. Curl your index finger. Lay the pick on the first knuckle of your index finger. Drop the thumb down. And now you're ready to go. Now your pick is going to be parallel to the strings. To really optimize it, you want to kind of slightly curve the pick at an almost like 45-degree angle. So it's something more like that. Okay, this is going to give you greater facility of the instrument. Now your left hand, your thumb is going to be parallel to your second finger. It's going to go up and down the back of the fretboard depending on where you move. But typically, you want your thumb parallel to your second finger. Now, since we're here talking about the left hand, let's talk about the left forearm. You're going to want, as you go up the guitar this way, it's going to move like a crane, which is why you want to keep your left shoulder as relaxed as possible, but ready for action. You don't want it so relaxed that's impossible to do. You're going to need it somewhat engaged to play chords and melodies and whatnot. So, but keep you want to stay as relaxed in the shoulders as much as possible, but ready for action. All right, let's play our first scale. We're going to play the E major scale, and it's going to be on the first string. With your right hand, you're going to play the first string open. Now let's get our left hand in position. We're just going to use our first finger with our left hand, and we're going to come to the second fret. You want to play right in the middle of the fret for our purposes. Lift again and come to the fourth fret. Now come to the fifth fret, then to the seventh, now to the ninth, now to the 11th, and to the 12th. Let's go back down to 11, then to 9, then to 7, then to 5, then to 4, then to 2, and open. Congratulations, you've played your first scale, ascending and descending. Review this, slow the video down if you have to, and go over it. If you're playing a steel string guitar, you might feel a little pinch on your fingertips in the beginning. Don't let that stop you, okay? If you want to take a little break, go ahead, take a little break, but make sure you come back to the instrument and play and try it again. If it hurts too much, stop and come back again tomorrow, but stay on it. Especially with steel string guitars and beginners, it can be a little tough, which is why I recommend that beginners always start on a nylon string guitar. It's a little bit more forgiving on our fingertips. Now let's play the E minor scale. Play the open string, then come to the second fret, now the third fret, now the fifth fret, now the seventh fret, now the 8th fret, 10, and 12. Let's go back down, then to 8, then to 7, then to 5, then to 3, then to 2, and then open. Congratulations, you've played your first minor scale, ascending and descending. Now, what I'd like for you to do is to give these scales now a drone tone. We're going to use the low E as our example. Now, why are we doing this? Well, I want you to be able to hear the differences in the scale. As a beginner, you might not hear the differences of what it is that you're playing right now. I know I didn't. So this will give you some context as to the characteristics or qualities of the scale. So let's go back to the major scale, but let's first start with playing our drone tone. Hit the low E string as hard as possible, and then play the major scale immediately afterwards. Here we go. The major scale, it has a very happy or bright sound. I like to think of it in terms of colors as a bright sound. Now let's play the minor scale. E minor, a slightly dark and sad sound. We're going to need them both to play music. Alright, up to this point we've been playing one note at a time. What happens when we play 3 notes at a time? It forms what's known as a chord. So we're going to play 2 different chords right now. We're going to play the E major chord, and then the E minor chord. And it's just going to require 1 finger. Our first finger is going to arch over the 1st and 2nd string and land on the 3rd string on the 1st fret. And it's going to sound like this. E major, right? Now, if we wanted to make this chord minor, all we would have to do is just lift up our 1st finger. Can you hear the difference? If not, let's do the same thing that we did for our scales and give it some context. Let's play the low E string and then the chord. Lift. Incredible. Isn't it amazing what a difference 1 note makes? Incredible stuff. This is going to be very, very important, especially as you move further along in your lessons. Now let's do a little bit of rhythm. Let's go back to that E major chord, and then let's add a little bit of rhythm. All we're going to do is we're going to keep it very, very simple for right now. And we're going to play downstrokes. And we're going to count along. Please remember to count along. If you have to whisper it, fine, but make sure you count along. Why? When you count along, your brain hears it and moves it along in the rhythm. Eventually you won't have to count externally. You'll be able to feel the music as you go. But if you're just beginning, make sure to count along. And it's going to go like this. We're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you notice, when I'm strumming downwards, I'm not going really past that 1st string too much. Why? Because I got to get back to that 3rd string. We're just playing from the 3rd string down. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let's do the same thing for minor. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when I was learning music in the beginning, I was very slow. And I want to let you know that some topics are going to come to you very quickly. Some you might have to work at a little bit harder. Who cares? Find the pace that works for you and go at the appropriate pace. Don't feel like you have to rush through any of this material. You can watch it as many times as you want. In the lower right hand caption, you'll be able to slow the speed down to your liking and review these videos as many times as you want. Now the next rhythmic thing that we're going to do, we're going to add 8th notes. Let's go back to that E major and let's go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And if that's too fast, do it slower. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. So even slower if that's too fast. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Let's do minor. Alright, now let's try a different chord now. Let's try C major. Now, as I'm naming these notes, and just try and think of them as like Tom, Sally, Michael, Abraham, like these are just names right now. We'll worry about what they are and what makes up these chords later on. Right now, let's play, okay? Bring your first finger to the second string on the first fret. And we're still going to play just those 3 strings. The third, the second, and the first string. Wow, so different, right? This is C major. Beautiful, beautiful sound. This is C. You want to learn more? Let's keep learning more. Let's learn D major. Now this one's going to be a little trickier. All right, it's a little trickier. Our first finger is going to come to the 3rd string, 2nd fret. Our second finger is going to come to the 2nd fret, 1st string. And now our 3rd finger is going to come to the 3rd fret, 2nd string. It's going to sound like this. Now, if it sounds like this, then some of the meat from one of your fingers is bumping into one of the other strings. You're going to have to work at arching the fingers a little bit more. And if you want to check, play each individual string by themselves. Each note, each string should sound nice and clear. Beautiful. Let's add a little rhythm to it. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Good job. Now let's add a little bit of different rhythm to it. Let's go, while we were going 1 and 2 and we were doing predominantly downstrokes, let's add some upstrokes now. So we're going to go downstroke for 1, but when we do and, we're going to go up. So it's going to sound like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Here we can play from the 4th string all the way down. Once you get comfortable with that, if you want to try playing it a little bit faster, go ahead. Now the next chord I'm going to show you is the G chord. Now what we're going to do is we're going to use our 3rd finger on our left hand to play the 3rd fret on the 1st string. The other strings number 3 and 2 are open. So far we've learned quite a few chords. We've learned E major, E minor, C, D, and now G. Let's take chords C, D, and G, and let's put them into a sequence. Let's do G to C to D. Let's see what that sounds like. Sounds like a million songs you've probably heard, right? So let's try that exercise. We're going to start with G. We're going to strum down 4, then move to C. 3, 4. Then our first finger comes to C. 2, 3, and to D. Then back to G. And then repeat. This is what's known as a 1-4-5 progression in the key of G. What does that mean? Who cares? I'm just kidding. I'm going to teach you what that is later, but really I just want you to start playing right now. Why? Why do I want you playing? Because when you were a baby, right? When you were a little tiny baby, whoever was taking care of you spoke to you in whatever language. Well, if you're here listening and reading this, you were spoken to you in English, right? You didn't speak English. You were a baby, right? What happened? You started doing ga ga goo goo ga ga goo goo, learning how to make sounds, right? Trying to parrot what your parents were telling you. You didn't know what you were saying. You didn't know what they were saying. You just tried to start imitating. That's what I want you to focus on right now. Just imitate me. And we'll get to all those fundamentals later on. But right now, I want you playing. Play, play, play. Go over this. Once you've completed all this stuff, then move on to the next lesson. All right? You don't have to master any of this stuff before moving on. Okay? Keep that in mind. You do not have to master this stuff by moving on. As you start playing these different aspects of the guitar, they're all going to help and change and mold all the other aspects of it. Okay? So again, the most important thing is that you play. Okay? We'll get to all the details and fundamentals and formulas later on. But for right now, just play like a kid learning the language. See you in the next lesson.